Story 1.
In a remote state in the northeastern United States, a call to the police reported a gunshot during the night. The 911 call center immediately dispatched teams to the scene upon receiving information from a concerned neighbor who had heard a single gunshot throughout the night. As police cars illuminated the road with their headlights in one of the shadowy streets of the town, they stood on the verge of an unexpected event. Approaching the neighbor's house, police officers moved quietly through the shadows. The silence of the town hinted at an unusually eerie night. When the police arrived at the neighbor's door, they calmly rang the doorbell. For a moment, silence prevailed. Then the door creaked open slightly. When the police were met with the worried eyes of the neighbor, they stepped inside to investigate the incident. However, the atmosphere behind the door changed abruptly. Lights began to flicker, and the faint whisper of a mysterious presence circulated as a harbinger. As the police roamed inside the house, doors slowly closed, paintings fell, and a mysterious atmosphere began to permeate the room. After a while, the silence was shattered by a sudden scream. The police officers saw old photographs trembling, shadows dancing, and felt they had detached themselves from the normal world. The radio connection at the crime scene had been severed. Their link with the outside world was lost. The team, under the influence of a mysterious force, began to feel like they were being drawn into a different dimension. Strange sounds were heard amidst the shadows, resembling a radio broadcast telling an ancient tale. Suddenly, a bright light appeared in the middle of the room, and with it, the police officers seemed to have transitioned to another world. The boundary between reality and dream had vanished. As the police disappeared from the quiet streets of the town, they found themselves in a mysterious version of the town where shadows seemed to intertwine the real world and the past. Lost among the shadows, the police wandered helplessly through dark streets, eventually reaching the door of an old church. Upon opening the door, they encountered an old priest and an army of ghosts standing under candlelight. The priest explained to the police that the town was under an ancient curse, and a tragedy from the past still lingered. Reality and dream had become indistinguishable. The police, trying desperately to unravel the mysterious past of the town and escape from this paranormal world, found themselves drawn deeper with each step. They were lost in an infinite labyrinth. This paranormal town would only be remembered for the strange hum that faintly echoed through the quiet streets. The police never set foot in that town again after that night. The paranormal event remained a secret in the depths of the silent town. The only thing left behind was the faint hum, a reminder still preserving the secrets of that night.
Story 2.
In the outskirts of town, the shadow of a deserted and ancient mansion loomed. This mansion, abandoned for years, was surrounded by eerie tales told by the townsfolk. One night, anyone brave enough to enter the mansion never returned. Jake, a young resident of the town, was known for his adventurous spirit among his friends. One day, he decided to visit the mansion, one of the most feared places in town. His friends refused to join, but Jake was determined to go alone. At midnight, Jake quietly opened the door of the mansion. The door creaked softly, but there was only silence around him. As he explored the hallways, he noticed the peeling wallpaper that hinted at the mansion's age. With each step, the echoes of his footsteps reverberated in the depths of the mansion. Suddenly, he heard the sound of breathing. Jake's heart began to race. There was no one around, yet the sound of breathing accompanied him. Undeterred, Jake pressed on and found himself standing in front of a door. The door opened silently, and he entered. Inside the room, he was greeted by an old piano. Despite the absence of wind, the keys began to play by themselves. Jake recoiled in horror, but as he attempted to leave the room, the door had closed. He then heard a disembodied breathing again. The room was empty, but the sound persisted. Jake moved forward with determination and stopped in front of another door. As it opened, he entered. In the room, an old portrait hung on the wall. As Jack observed it, the eyes of the figure in the painting seemed to follow him. A cold chill ran down his spine. The breathing sound grew louder, surrounding him. Out of the shadows, a dark entity materialized. Like a fluid shadow, it glided towards Jake. Each step he took, the entity mirrored. Panic set in, and as he tried to leave, the door slammed shut. The entity drew nearer, and Jake's surroundings became a distorted reality. He could feel the presence closing in, and in a moment of terror, Jake let out a scream that echoed through the mansion's depths. The next day, the mansion's door was found ajar, but Jake never returned. The townspeople never forgot him or the dark secrets that lurked within the mansion. Those who roamed around claimed to hear Jakey's scream or the haunting melodies of the old piano. The mansion's door may have closed, but the dark silence within never ceased.